You know that feeling, right? You've just landed, maybe in a new country, you're wiped out, and all you want is to plug in your phone.
Oh, yeah. Or the laptop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Charge the laptop, maybe even the electric toothbrush these days, and then you see it. That wall socket. Completely different.
And the panic sets in. Did I pack the adapter?
Right. Or, worse, you did, but it's the wrong one for this country.
Right.
It's just this tiny bit of plastic and metal, but suddenly it's everything.
Absolutely critical.
Well, today on the Deep Dive, we're using that exact feeling, that universal travel moment as our starting point. We're looking at the economics behind that simple travel adapter. And it's surprisingly massive.
It really is.
Yeah, this whole deep dive is based on some fascinating market projections. The source is titled Global Travel Adapter Market Projections to 2033, and it's from Cognitive Market Research. So our mission today, let's unpack the growth here, the key trends region by region, and find some of the unexpected insights hiding in this, well, seemingly niche market. Okay, let's get into it.
Sounds good. It is intriguing, isn't it, how something so everyday, so almost invisible sometimes, actually tells us so much about global connectivity, travel habits, and really the economic currents underneath it all. This data gives a surprisingly clear window into that.
Totally agree. So let's kick off with the big picture, because the numbers are, well, they're bigger than you might think. Back in 2021, the global market, it was valued at over $1.5 billion.
$1,507.36 million, to be precise. And what's really fascinating here, as you said, isn't just that starting point. It's the growth trajectory.
Right.
For what seems like such a specific little gadget. From that 2021 figure, the market's projected to hit almost $2 billion by 2020.
Okay, nearly $2 billion.
And then it just keeps climbing. An impressive $3.15 billion. That's billion with a B by 2033.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's growing at a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of over 6.3%. 6.349%, actually.
So a steady, strong climb.
Exactly. It just highlights this constant rise in global travel. And let's face it, how much we rely on our devices wherever we go.
It's quite a surge for something we maybe buy once every few years and then forget about until we need it. So, okay, given that big global number, where's the action happening? Which parts of the world are really driving this expansion, the hotspots?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, you can really see how global travel trends and economic development shape these numbers. Asia Pacific is, well, it's the giant here.
Yeah.
It clocked in at roughly $600 million back in 2021. That was $599.931 million.
Almost 600 million.
And it's projected to more than double, hitting over $1.3 billion by 2033. That's $325.48 million. And the growth rate there is strong, a CAGR of almost 7%, 6.963%.
That reflects the huge travel boom in and out of Asia, I guess.
Absolutely. Then you have North America, also a very significant slice. It was over $430 million in 2021. $434.121 million. And that's expected to pretty much double, too, reaching over $860 million by 2033. So $867.349 million. The growth there is a bit slower, around 5.8% annually. CDR 5.833%.
Still very solid growth.
And Europe. Europe's market value was about $285 million in 2021, $284.892 million. It's anticipated to get close to $565 million by 2033. $564.455 million. And the growth rate is quite similar to North America, just under 5.8%, a KGR of 5.776%.
Okay.
But here's one to watch. South America started smaller, around $104 million in 2021. But the projections show really strong growth. It could reach almost $250 million by 2033, $246.417 million. And that's expanding at a CAGR of nearly 7.4%. $7.773 million, expected to grow to over $94 million, $94.339 million by 2033. The KGR there is around 4.7%, 4.732%. And finally, Africa. It's the smallest market currently, about $28.29 million in 2021, $28.64 million, but still projected to double, hitting over $57 million, $57.108 million by 2033. That's about 4.9% annual growth.
So growth everywhere, really, but different speeds.
Precisely. And the regional breakdown already tells a story about, travel volume and maybe economic development levels.
Okay, this is where, for me, it gets really interesting. Let's zoom in, because the report gets down to the country level, and that's where you see some Some surprising trends, maybe. What stands out when you dig into individual countries?
Yeah, absolutely. There are some clear patterns, but definitely a few surprises too. So sticking with Asia Pacific first.
Okay.
China and Japan, no surprise, they're huge contributors. China's market, starting around $186 million in 2021, is projected to hit nearly $400 million by 2033, $396.715 million. Japan, starting at about $115 million, $114.707 million, looking at maybe $240 million. $243.623 million, both growing steadily around 6.5% CAGR.
Pretty standard, big economies, lots of travel.
Right, but here's a real standout, India. It's actually one of the fastest growing markets in the whole data set globally. It started around $83 million, $82.731 million in 2021.
Okay.
It's projected to shoot up to almost $200 million by 2033. $195.905 million. That's a CAGR of nearly 7.8%. 7.767%.
Wow, that is fast. What's behind that, do you think?
Well, you'd guess it's likely driven by, the expanding middle class there, much more international business travel, plus a growing tourism sector. It points to a huge wave of new global travelers emerging from India.
Makes sense. Anything else in APAC?
Yeah, a couple more interesting points. Singapore also shows a really high growth rate, over 7.5% CAGR, 21.658 meters to 51.163 meters. Southeast Asia as a whole is expanding fast too, over 7.3%.
Okay.
And maybe the most fascinating bit, the category called Rest of APAC, so lots of smaller, maybe developing economies.
Right, lumped together.
That group actually has the highest CAGR of any region or sub-region mentioned, over 8.7%, 8.732%.
Whoa, so it's not just the big players.
Exactly. It suggests that global connectivity is rapidly increasing across a really diverse set of maybe smaller Asian economies. Perhaps new travel hubs are popping up or, things like digital nomadism are spreading there.
That's a really interesting angle. Okay, what about South America? You mentioned its strong growth overall.
Right. So drilling down there, Argentina stands out with a growth rate close to 8%, 7.936% CAGR. Its market is set to more than double from about $14 million to over $34 million. 13.989 meters to 34.592 meters.
High growth rate again.
Brazil is the biggest market in the region, though its growth is slightly slower, around 7% CAGR, 33.137 meters to 76.296 meters. Still strong, obviously. It points to, significant travel within the region and also more connection to global networks.
Got it. And North America, you mentioned the U.S. is biggest, but Canada and Mexico are growing faster.
That's right. The U.S. market is, it's the giant overall. Started at over $350 million, $351.638 million in 2021, projected to hit nearly $690 million, $689.994 million by 2033. But its growth rate is about 5.6% CAGR.
Still huge volume.
Oh, absolutely. But Canada's CAGR is almost 7%, 6.924%, and Mexico's is around 6.4%, 6.396%.
Oh, why do you think that is?
Could be different dynamics, maybe more frequent cross-border travel or specific economic factors boosting travel from Canada and Mexico compared to the perhaps more mature U.S. travel market.
Interesting nuance there. Okay, let's hop over to Europe. Variations there, too.
Definitely. Germany and France are big players. Germany starting around $43 million, $43.161 million, right, projected to reach over $81 million, $81.118 million. That's a CAGR of about 5.1%.
Okay.
France, starting a bit smaller at $36.5 million, $36.523 million, but projected to reach over $77 million, $77.212 million. Its growth rate is notably higher, over 6.5%, Pacific finding the rest of Europe category.
Oh, the smaller countries again?
Exactly. That group actually recorded the highest CAGR in Europe, over 7.2%. 7.236%.
So growth isn't just concentrated in the big Western European economies.
Right. And it contrasts with some other established European countries like Denmark, which has the lowest projected CGR in the data at just 3.4%. Sweden is around 4%. Spain about 4.7%.
So much slower growth there, maybe more saturated markets.
That would be a reasonable guess. Or perhaps different travel patterns, fewer new long-haul travelers emerging compared to other regions.
Fascinating differences. And quickly, the Middle East and Africa. Yeah, any specifics there?
Sure. In the Middle East, Saudi Arabia is the largest market. It was about $19.5 million, $19.52 million in 2021, projected to reach over $32 million, $32.113 million by 2033. Growth is a bit lower there, CAGR around 4.4%.
There you go.
And in Africa, the two largest markets highlighted are South Africa and Nigeria. South Africa started around $9 million, $9.225 million, growing to almost $18 million, $17.852 million. Nigeria, starting smaller at about $5.3 million, at $5.336 million, projected to reach over $10 million, $10.325 million. Both have similar CAGRs around 4.5%.
So steady growth, but maybe starting from a smaller base reflects the current scale of international travel there.
Exactly. These markets, while smaller on the global scale right now, are clearly on an upward path.
It really is eye-opening how all these, seemingly dry numbers paint such a vivid picture of people moving around the globe. So let's bring it back. What does this all mean for you, the listener? Whether you're, actually planning a trip or says, find these global market shifts interesting. What's the big takeaway?
Well,
Go ahead.
I think what we've really unpacked today shows how this small, often forgotten accessory, the travel adapter, it truly reflects massive global changes.
Yeah.
Changes in travel patterns, yes, but also international business, commerce, and just our complete dependence on digital connectivity everywhere. It's a tiny piece, like you said, but it slots right into this huge dynamic economic picture.
Couldn't agree more.
Exactly. And the data, it points to really robust growth, but also very varied growth across the globe. It clearly indicates a future where international travel continues to be a major driver for all sorts of consumer markets, even for these pretty mundane items.
Right.
And maybe this raises an important question for you to think about.
Ooh, leave us with a thought then.
Well, given these really precise market forecasts just for travel adapters, think about what other small things in our daily lives might be quietly riding these same huge global waves, things we barely notice. And what could analyzing those items tell us about the future of travel or consumption or connectivity? What else is hiding in plain sight? Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into something you've probably handled countless times, but maybe haven't given a ton of thought: the travel adapter market.
Right, that little block that saves the day when you realize the plug won't fit.
Exactly, that universal socket dilemma.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to unpack what's driving this market, what's holding it back, and the really interesting trends shaping its future. And we should mention, all the insights we're diving into are powered by cognitive market research, really solid data-driven intelligence here.
Absolutely.
This deep dive should give you a shortcut to understanding why those charging solutions in your bag are evolving from, your personal gadgets right up to the global supply chain.
Yeah, it's true. It's a surprisingly complex market.
Yeah.
More essential than it looks, especially with, the world feeling smaller, but electrical grids staying so diverse.
I totally get that. You never think about them until you really need one.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's unpack this. What's really driving the demand? Why is it electrifying right now?
Well, the first big thing, according to cognitive market research, is just the sheer boom in international travel again post-pandemic.
Right. People are moving again.
Exactly. Both business and leisure travel are way up. And that directly fuels the global demand for reliable power solutions. People need seamless charging across different countries.
Makes sense. And it's not just more people traveling, right? It's also about what they're carrying, all the gadgets.
Well, absolutely. That's the other huge piece, the explosion in gadget usage.
Yeah.
Think about it: smartphones, laptops, tablets, cameras, wearables.
The list goes on.
It does. And this massive increase in smart devices means travelers need adapters that aren't just basic plugs anymore. They need multifunctional ones, fast charging, high compatibility. They become like an essential travel kit.
So travel's up, we've got more devices. What else is feeding into this growth? Is there something else?
There is, yeah. E-commerce expansion is a big one.
Interesting. How so?
Well, online shopping platforms just make these things so much more accessible, more visible globally.
Right, you can compare everything easily.
Exactly. Detailed comparisons, reviews, price transparency.
Yeah.
It boosts awareness and sales, especially in emerging economies where maybe physical retail options were limited before. People can find exactly what they need.
Okay, so demand is definitely strong, but it can't all be smooth sailing, right? What are the hurdles, the headwinds slowing things down?
Definitely not all smooth. One of the biggest restraints, honestly, is safety and compliance. It's a real headache.
How do you mean?
Well, you have all these different regional plug types, different voltage standards. It's incredibly complex for manufacturers to create a truly universal adapter that's also safe, properly certified, and affordable.
Okay. So getting that certification everywhere is tough.
It is. And the risk of malfunction, if things aren't done right, that holds back market growth too. Safety is paramount, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. And beyond the regulations, isn't there also a challenge from, well, things just being built in now, like hotels or airports having universal sockets?
That's another key point, yeah.
Yeah.
Competition from built-in solutions.
So USB ports in the wall, that kind of thing.
Exactly. More hotels, airports, even newer homes are installing universal sockets or multi-port USB hubs. For a lot of travelers, that might be enough.
Meaning they just don't need to buy a separate adapter.
Right. It definitely cuts into the potential demand for standalone adapters.
And what about cost? Does price sensitivity play a role?
Oh, definitely. Especially in more budget-conscious markets, think parts of Asia, Africa, Latin America.
Okay.
In those regions, travelers often, go for the really low-cost generic options. They might skip the premium adapters that have all the safety certifications.
Which hurts the brands selling those safer, maybe slightly pricier ones.
Exactly. It impacts brand revenue, and it limits how much those quality-focused products can penetrate those markets.
Makes sense. Okay, so those are the challenges, but let's pivot to the future. This is where it gets really interesting, right? What are the emerging trends, the innovations?
Yeah, this is exciting stuff. What's really dominating now is the move towards USB-C and much faster charging technologies.
USB-C's everywhere now.
It really is.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the integration of GaN technology, that's gallium nitride, and USB-C power delivery, or PD.
GaN, what does that actually mean for the user?
It means smaller, more efficient adapters. So GaN lets manufacturers pack more power into a much tinier space. Combine that with USB-C PD, and you can have a small adapter that charges multiple devices, even your laptop, really, really fast.
That's huge. Less bulk to carry.
Exactly. It's a key selling point, especially for tech-savvy travelers.
Which ties into the design trends, I guess. People want smaller, lighter things.
Absolutely. That's the next big trend. Compact, foldable, travel-friendly designs.
Yeah.
Manufacturers are really prioritizing portability. Sleek, lightweight adapters, ones that fold up neatly, easily fit into a carry-on or even just your pocket.
Like they heard every traveler praying for less clutter.
Pretty much. Convenience is absolutely key.
And what about sort of the smart side of things, making them safer or easier to use in different places?
Right, we're seeing real advancements in smart voltage detection and auto switching.
Okay, what does that do?
It means modern adapters can automatically sense the voltage of the outlet they're plugged into and adjust accordingly. They also offer better voltage regulation, surge protection.
So peace of mind, especially if you're somewhere with a less stable power grid.
Exactly. It provides that extra layer of safety and reliability, which is crucial in some parts of the world.
Okay, this is all fascinating on the product level, but let's zoom out a bit. There's a broader challenge you mentioned, something impacting this industry and, frankly, many others, tariffs. And this info, again, is from Cognitive Market Research.
Yes, that's right. According to their research, in 2025, the U.S. introduced what are often called the Liberation Day tariffs, or sometimes just the ongoing Trump tariffs.
Okay.
And these are pretty significant. We're talking up to 46% tariffs on goods from Vietnam, 34% on imports from China, and also a universal 25% tariff on key electronics components.
Like what kind of components?
Things like steel, semiconductors, lithium-ion batteries, various consumer electronics parts, basically stuff that's absolutely crucial for making travel adapters.
Wow, okay. So what has the impact been, according to the research?
But the documented impacts are pretty clear. First, increased input costs for manufacturers, especially U.S.-based ones, up to 25% higher.
Ouch.
Yeah. And major disruption to supply chains, particularly those just-in-time systems that relied heavily on Chinese subcomponents.
So it's forcing companies to change where they make things.
Absolutely. It's accelerating a shift in production,
Yeah.
forcing companies to look seriously at places like India, Mexico, other Southeast Asian nations,
Yeah.
basically diversifying away from that heavy reliance.
Now, the stated goal, as reported, was to reduce dependence on Chinese imports. But what does Cognitive Market Research say about the immediate effects?
Well, the short-term impact they report is pretty much what you'd expect: higher retail prices for consumers.
Makes sense. Costs go up, prices go up.
Right. And subsequently lower consumer demand, particularly for these kinds of cost-sensitive electronics, like travel adapters. And just to be clear, we're relaying the factual findings from the source material here.
Understood. So given all this volatility, the tariffs, the supply chain shifts, what does this mean for businesses in this space?
It means market research becomes absolutely critical. More than ever, really.
How so?
Well, companies need that intelligence to navigate this, to identify alternative suppliers, track how costs are trending, maybe even redesign components to use parts that aren't hit as hard by tariffs.
Strategic maneuvering.
Exactly, and optimizing their whole supply chain.
Mm.
Cognitive market research points to specific tools. Leading brands are using things like beam optimization.
Bill of materials.
Right, analyzing every single component cost,
Mhm.
plus supplier mapping, scenario planning, basically using data to build resilience against tariffs, inflation, market saturation, all of it.
So bringing it all together then, what does this really mean for, for you listening, the traveler, and for the future of this little gadget?
Well, it means that tiny adapter in your bag is kind of at the crossroads of some huge global forces.
Yeah, booming travel, tech innovation, even global trade policy.
It's a real microcosm of our interconnected world.
So let's give you the final charge on this deep dive. Key drivers, definitely more international travel, that explosion in smart devices we talked about, and easier online access.
Mm-hmm.
Key restraints, the headache of safety and compliance rules, competition from built-in sockets, and those pricing challenges, especially in some markets.
Yeah.
And the key trends to watch, definitely faster charging USB-C GaN alongside those super compact portable designs and smarter voltage detection for safety.
And don't forget the bigger picture.
Right, the tariff situation. The Trump tariffs creating these significant ripples, forcing manufacturers and retailers to make some big strategic pivots.
It really leaves you with a final thought, doesn't it? How will this ongoing tension, this push and pull between global travel freedom on one hand and geopolitical trade policies on the other, how will that keep shaping not just niche markets like travel adapters, but our broader access to electronics and innovation?
That's a great point.
It just highlights how crucial it is for any industry, really, to stay plugged into data-driven strategy in what's clearly a very interconnected and, frankly, pretty volatile world right now.
Couldn't agree more. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the travel adapter market. We hope you found it valuable.
Hope so, too.
And we hope you continue exploring complex topics with us. Until next time, keep your devices charged and your insights sharp.